today we invite you to start your day with a CMA education staff member. So today we're going to be interviewing Savannah. So can you tell us what you do here at the aquarium?
Hi, so I do a lot of stuff here at the aquarium. The education department is very dynamic. We obviously do a lot of educational work in that we teach school groups different programs when they come visit us. Some may be similar in content to what you could learn through our virtual field trips during this time. But we also go off-site and teach schools kind of a lot about the work that we do as a working marine animal hospital. And our team also does kayak tours. We also host all of our boat tours, one of which we're on right now. We do two different boat tours. We do Sea Life Safari and Dorsal, our Dolphin Adventure Tour, which both include research projects. So research is kind of the other half of what our team does, a little bit non-traditional for an education team, but these are very long-term projects our team has been doing at Clearwater Marine Aquarium. So Sea Life Safari allows us to collect fish population data in Clearwater Bay, which is the body of water we're on right now. It's adjacent to the aquarium. We use otter trawl nets to collect information on fish and their seasonality, their habitat use, things like that over time here in Clearwater Bay. We've been doing that for well over 10 years. And then we also do Dorsal ID on our Dolphin Adventure Tour as well as on small research teams. So Dorsal ID involves taking high quality photography of the dorsal fin of a dolphin and using unique markings of that animal on their dorsal fin to tell that animal apart from other members of its population. And by doing so, we can learn a lot about the health of that population here in the bay. We also do a small microplastics research project in partnership with the University of Florida, so we can kind of start to learn a little bit more about how much plastic is in the water in these areas.
Okay, it sounds like you do a lot. So with that, does it require you to have a degree? And if so, what is your degree in?
Yeah, so just to be a staff member in our department, you do have to at least have your bachelor's degree in a related field to basically what we do here at the aquarium. So we have had a lot of people come through with biology degrees. I personally have my undergrad degree in biology concentrated in marine science, but I'm also working on my master's in fisheries and aquatic resources. But we have had psychology students come through here. We've had zoology students, so a lot of wide variety of staff members, and that brings a lot to the department, especially in terms of education and providing different backgrounds and different knowledge to all of the students that come through our doors.
Okay, great. So while you were in college, is there any specific courses or different clubs that you were in that helped you kind of hone your skills in the field?
Yeah, so in college I volunteered here at Clearwater Marine Aquarium right on our Sea Life Safari tours. I knew that I was really interested in research, and I was obviously able to do that on Sea Life Safari, assist the biologists on board and get kind of a first-hand look into what that involves. And later that did transition into my thesis for my master's, which is kind of cool that I was able to come full circle. In college I tried to concentrate my major close to marine science, so I took kind of my upper credential courses, elective courses, and things that interested me like anatomy, obviously marine biology, zoology, things like that.
So besides a degree, what other type of training did you have?
So when I graduated, I started an internship here at Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Marine biology is a very dynamic field. It's not just one thing, and a lot of people do tend to specialize their career in something in particular. Some people don't. When I came out of college, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to study, so I tried to get my feet wet and do a bunch of different things. Volunteering at the time here on Sea Life Safari, but I was also a rescue team intern at the aquarium. Anatomy is something that has always really interested me. I took a comparative vertebrate anatomy class in college that I found extremely interesting. So being on the rescue team, you obviously get to save animals. You have to know a lot about their form and function in order to properly assist them medically and physically in the field.
Okay, so what type of advice would you have for someone looking to be in your shoes?
So if you're interested in doing something like what I do on the education side, obviously there's a lot of internships at facilities like ours that do have education departments. That's a really good way to kind of get your feet in the door and also learn good curriculum building skills, learn what it's like to work around students, and learn how to best teach them the concepts that you need to here. If you're interested in research, you can find a lot of volunteer experience, again, at facilities like ours or laboratories. It doesn't have to necessarily be on one specific type of animal, because a lot of those concepts can carry to many different species. Another recommendation that I have is if you're in college, there's often a lot of research volunteering opportunities on campus. A lot of labs need a lot of help, so that's a really good way to start a little bit of research experience.
That was some good advice. So given that, and you told us a little bit about what you do in your day-to-day job, what would you consider your favorite thing?
My favorite thing is, honestly, I really enjoy going out on sea life safari. Obviously, now that I'm getting to do my thesis using the fish, it's really cool to continue to share the knowledge that I'm finding through that work with the guests that come to the aquarium. But most important to overall what our department does is educate the general public on ways that they can protect and conserve marine life. Hopefully that message does settle with someone, and they'll be inspired to kind of do the work that we do here. So that's probably my favorite thing.
Okay. You mentioned a little bit about being in the Dorsal Identification project. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I am a co-investigator for that project. It's a federally permitted study that extends north and south of the aquarium. This obviously involves the photography of the dorsal fins, but we can learn a lot about the health of not only the population of dolphins through this research, but of the ecosystem as a whole, as these animals are indicators to environmental health. So they're at the top of their food chain, which means that if there are pollutants in the water, they tend to harbor in those larger apex predators like a dolphin, again, if present. So we can learn a lot about not only the dolphins, but maybe the fish communities, the health of and that's a long-term study. Population studies like that take many years to just get kind of a good idea of the structure of the community. We can provide a lot of this information not only to our rescue team, but to other teams who may need to rescue one of these animals. We can learn a lot about potential threats to these animals, especially in a populated area like Clearwater. We can also hopefully advocate our messaging about harassment to bottlenose dolphins through the work that we do. And a really important note here is that it is illegal to touch, feed, or swim with wild marine mammals, as they are protected under the Marine Mammal Protection Act, so we do have to have permits to do this research.
Okay. And I noticed you have a couple things next to you. If you want to go ahead and share with us what you have.
Yeah, so I have two animals that we actually find here in Clearwater Bay. These are species we've collected throughout the years in our trawl nets on Sea Life Safari. The first one here, this is a lightning whelk. Lightning whelks, when they're smaller, they have dark striations or lines that run down the side of their shell that look like lightning bolts, hence their name. They're actually a left-handed shell. They're the only lefties in the state of Florida. So you'll see that the opening, if I'm looking at it, it opens to my left, or my left hand curves in here really easily. This is a sea snail. So if you're familiar with like a garden snail, this is just their underwater cousin. And they're carnivorous and technically a cannibalistic species as well. They're actually not the largest one-shelled species, though, in North America. And the other species I have with me, we don't tend to get these as commonly in our net pools, but it has happened. This is a horseshoe crab. This is actually a terminal molt for likely a female. This animal, although a lot of people confuse it as something scary because it looks a lot like a stingray in its shape, it's actually closely related to a spider, which you can see here. And we have a lot of these out here. Mostly we actually see them on the shoreline mating. So if you ever were to come across one of these in that situation, it's good to just give them some distance so they can be on their way.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing what you do here at the aquarium and the different things that you have with us here today. So thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great day.
Thank you.